In the beginning, there was fire, and in this first flame, 4 Lord Souls were formed. The Light Soul, claimed by Lord Gwyn, allowed him to harness the power of sunlight. The Soul of Death, claimed by Gravelord Nito, which allowed him to bring about death and disease. The Soul of Life, claimed by the Witch of Izalith, gave her the power to create life. And, probably the most important, the Dark Soul, claimed by the Furtive Pygmy, which it spread to its people to grant them immense power. These fragments of the Dark Soul are called humanity, and as the flame grows weaker, the Dark Soul grows stronger, and by extension, so does humanity. If humanities grow out of control, it spawns the Abyss, which devours anything it touches. Gwyn feared the spread of the Abyss, so he created a seal called the Dark Sign, and placed it on humans to suppress their inner power granted by the Dark Soul. In an effort to thwart the spread of the Abyss, it also granted immortality, at a cost. These new humans are thus named the Undead. This dark sign made humanity unable to reap the benefits of the Dark Soul bestowed upon them by their ancestor, but also made them unable to leak humanity from themselves and prevented the forming of an abyss. The dark sign, made of fire, however, grew weaker and weaker as the fire faded. This caused humanity to suffer a mutation of the dark sign, which caused them to go hollow and lose themselves after losing their sanity and will to live. This did not happen when the flame was at full strength, which points to it being caused by the flame losing power and being unable to control the dark sign as it should be. This phenomenon is therefore dubbed the Undead Curse. In the time period following the first flame, a war broke out between the lords and ancient dragons. With the help of Seath the Scaleless, a turncoat dragon who was born without the protective scales of his kin, Gwyn and the other lords defeated the ancient dragons and drove them to near extinction. This period was called the Age of Ancients. Soon, though, the fire would start waning. As the flame got so weak, it is said that Gwyn sacrificed his Lord Soul to keep the flame going, and thus perished. This is seen by many as the first sin, as they see the prolonging of the fire as unnatural. This ushers in the Age of Fire. The game takes place at the end of this age, when the fire is once again waning and is about to die out.
Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign.
In the vast and haunting world of Dark Souls, where despair and isolation reign supreme, the player is thrust into a brutal and unforgiving realm where death lurks around every corner. As the player traverses the haunting landscapes of Lordran, they find themselves grappling not only with formidable enemies, but also with the profound themes that permeate the game's narrative and environment. These themes, characterized by a pervading sense of bleakness, serve to create an atmosphere that is both captivating but unsettling, prompting players to confront the darker aspects of existence. The game takes place in the Kingdom of Lordran, a decaying world on the brink of collapse. The atmosphere is suffused with a sense of hopelessness and futility as the player struggles against seemingly insurmountable odds. After the opening cinematic, the Chosen Undead awakens, and we get to see the state of the world. The player is an undead, locked in a cell, awaiting the end of the world, when suddenly a knight drops a key to unlock our door. This knight is Oscar. He sets us on our mission in the beginning of the game.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I, we're both undead. Hear me out, will you? Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart.
Oscar is the embodiment of noble intentions and aspirations of grandeur. He bears the weight of his own failures and his desperate desire to assist those who would face the horrors of Lordran. Oscar's story is underlined by tragedy. He is a knight who ventured into the depths of darkness, only to meet his end far from the glory he once sought. The introduction of Dark Souls set up an interesting world and gives us enough information to know the basics of what is happening, while still withholding certain tidbits of the story, which adds a layer of mystery that makes us want to venture further and uncover said mysteries. Dark Souls also lets the player really put themselves into the shoes of their character, as he is a voiceless protagonist and is basically just a vessel for the player. His reasoning for venturing out into Lordran can be whatever we want it to be, whether that be to honor Oscar's final request, or simply because the Chosen Undead wants to have a little fun before the end of the world. Firelight Shrine serves as the hub of the game and a safe haven for the undead that have not gone hollow. As the player takes in their surroundings, it is up to us to choose where we want to go. Dark Souls 1 is an interesting game in the way that all the areas are really interconnected. For example, a new player might descend down into the New Londo ruins, or stumble across the Tomb of Giants, which are both fairly late game areas, and you'll probably be killed repeatedly as a new player. The interconnectedness of Dark Souls 1 adds to the immersion of the game, since instead of fast traveling like in future titles, the areas are connected in a way that encourages backtracking, making the game feel more real. Music is rarely used in Dark Souls outside of boss fights, so the serene ambience of Firelink is exemplified as a calm and peaceful place for the player. Once the Chosen Undead is ready, they can proceed to the Bells of Awakening. A strong foe is safeguarding each Bell of Awakening, one being the Bell Gargoyles, and the other, Chaos Witch Quelaag. After ringing each bell, we will see that the closed gate to Sin's Fortress will open, allowing the player to venture to the top. Before going to Sin's Fortress, however, we can make our way back to Firelink and talk to a primordial serpent who is erected in the structure at Firelink. He says his name is Framp, and mentions that he was a friend to Lord Gwyn, and knows the Chosen Undead's fate. He says it is to link the First Flame and extend the Age of Fire, and supposedly undo the curse of the undead. To do this, Framp says we need the Lord Vessel and Lord Souls. We will revisit the Shady Serpent later, but for now, our quest is to venture through Sin's Fortress and arrive at the land of the Lords, Anor Londo. Anor Londo is a huge spectacle, and while it is grandeur and beautiful, it feels empty. Like everyone just up and left. Traversing the unsettling though also stunning landscape of Anor Londo, you eventually end up encountering Ornstein and Smoke. This fight is without a doubt the best fight in the base game. It's the biggest skill check in the game, but once you get past them, you'll be ready for the rest of what the game throws at you. Upon going up the elevator after the fight, you come face to face with the Queen of Sunlight, Guinevere. Or do you? The item Ring of the Sun Princess tells us the Princess of Sunlight, Guinevere, left Anor Londo along with many other deities and later became wife to flame god Flan. This Queen of Sunlight is actually not real and is only an illusion that Gwendolyn, the last loyal son of Gwyn, is propping up along with the vibrant sunlight in Anor Londo. As to why, it has been heavily speculated. The idea that I prescribe is that Gwendolyn wants the Chosen Undead to continue onward and link the flame as shown through his dialogue to you through Guinevere.
O Chosen Undead, I am Guinevere, daughter of Lord Gwyn and Queen of Sunlight. Since the day Father his form did obscureth, I have awaited thee. I bequeath the Lord vessel to thee. Succeed Lord Gwyn, and inheriteth the fire of our world.
Gwendolyn seems to want the same thing as his father, and that is to retain the power of his family and keep the Age of Fire going. If you are to kill the fake illusion of Guinevere, Gwendolyn will speak to you, and the sunlight Anor Londo will disappear, ushering in the dark.
Thou that tarnisheth the Godmother's image, I am Gwyndolin. And thy transgression shall not go unpunished. Thou shalt perish in the twilight of Anor Londo.
This could be symbolism to those left in Anor Londo that the Age of Dark is upon them. More on that later. After acquiring the Lord Vessel, which gives you the ability to warp or fast travel to certain bonfires, we're off to find and claim the Lord Souls. As mentioned before, one Lord Soul belongs to each of the remaining Lords. That being Gravelord Nito, Seath the Scaleless, and the Witch of Izalith, and the Four Kings. 3 of which you will recognize. The 4th, however, has not been mentioned before. The 4 kings were given fragments of Gwyn's Lord Soul during the war against the ancient dragons, which is why we have to kill them. After killing the 4 kings, a second primordial serpent arises. He says his name is Kath, and spins a different story than the other primordial serpent. Kath claims that the flame totally went out in between the Age of Ancients and the Age of Fire, and that there was an Age of Dark in between those 2 ages. So Gwyn did not extend the first flame. He created a new first flame, after an Age of Dark had been ushered in. The Chosen Undead is now posed with a decision to make. Should we rekindle the flame and continue an Age of Fire, or leave it be and usher in an Age of Dark? Well, it's up to the player to decide, but let's look into everything we know about each age. According to Framth, extending the Age of Fire would bring Lordran back to prosperity, ridding the curse of the undead and revitalizing the lands. Though we know this is misleading on Framth's part, because as the fire wanes, the undead curse will come back. Sure, it'll be postponed for a couple of 100 years or even thousands, but he leads the player to believe that it will permanently be snuffed out, intentionally or not. Kath, however, does not really elaborate on what this dark age entails. He says that the Age of Dark will be ruled by humans who have the power of the Dark Soul, passed down from the furtive pygmy. Choosing to usher in an Age of Darkness will make you the Dark Lord and supreme ruler of humanity. However, the DLC to Dark Souls might give you pause on choosing this ending. Regardless of your decision, it's time for the Chosen Undead to fill the Lord Vessel and face Lord Gwyn at last. As we progress towards the kiln of the first flame, we see the ghosts of the knights that follow Lord Gwyn into the kiln, wandering aimlessly. After fighting through the remaining knights who still stand guard after all this time, the Chosen Undead can finally face Lord Gwyn, and we see that he is no longer the lord he once was. He is now a hollow imitation of a lord, and if the player learned the parry mechanic, it makes this fight so much more pathetic, like you're just putting down a lost relic of a man. Gwyn's theme is very fitting to his boss. Whereas other bosses have loud and epic and bombastic soundtracks, Gwyn's is more solemn and sad. A simple piano that makes you feel how hard Gwyn has fallen from the grace he once had. The most powerful man reduced to a mere hollow. After defeating Gwyn, it's up to the Chosen Undead if they want to singe their flesh as kindling or simply leave and become the Dark Lord. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. If you feel I have any information wrong, please tell me in the comments, as I love to learn and converse about Dark Souls. If you're interested in more videos like this, then subscribe and like the video. I have a video about the Painted World of Ariamis and the DLC of DS1 in the works. Until next time, and remember, don't you dare go hollow.